Hey guys, Steph here, and welcome to a brand new series. These two are two of my best friends in the world, both of them well versed into the world of gaming, news, and everything. And I decided to bring them in to have a new show called Bois Chat. Today, I'm glad to have my two friends, Danielle and Andres. You may know them as Pereira and Magnetic, respectively, on their Discord tags. So today we have a lot to talk about. So first of all, we have the gigantic problem that is Epic and Apple's lawsuit that started today, right? It started today.
Well, Epic's and Apple lawsuit has been going for a long time. I mean, the court trial and it begins today. Yeah, the court trial, but
right.
The lawsuit's been on for a year, I think, a year or almost 2 years. I think.
Ever since
Sounds about right.
Ever since 2018, when Apple snuffed out Fortnite from their platform.
Yeah, most likely.
So
I think it's 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like that. So first, I'm going to start giving you guys a rundown on what exactly happened. And you might already know, but basically Apple has a 30% cut on every transaction done in the App Store. Any transaction, including microtransactions at the same time. And Epic saw this and they wanted to do a parallel site where they would get a bigger cut and not give anything to the App Store. Apple caught a whiff of this and said that they couldn't do that. And then Epic said, what are you going to do? Snuff me out of the App Store? And they did.
The mad lad.
And so they did.
And so they did. And so when that happened, it created like a huge buzz on the internet because Apple snuffed out what allegedly was one of the most downloaded and played games in the App Store. Bar none. Like it didn't like I think that there was like a distant second at the time, but Fortnite was king. And during all that time, Epic wanted to go back into Apple, but they didn't want to come back to Apple actually, and the lawsuit that is coming out is from some unpaid royalties that Apple apparently owes them due to 30% cut that they had from their overall transactions. And boy, it has been a tough ride for everyone. Fortnite fans, Apple fans, and anything. And on the side, and this is not the main story, but for something similar, Spotify sued Apple and brought all the problems into the, I think was the European Union. And now we're here, watching all the things that have been given to us and talked about in the court regarding Epic and Apple. So Dan, give us a small rundown of the juicy bits that we got from that court.
As far as it is to understand, there is a huge problem regarding that. Whenever the dispute happened, like the first question is like, how did this happen if they had a previous agreement? Like there should have been a previous agreement where each side could say, oh, I get this amount of percent and then you get this amount of percent. And then like the real question was like, was Epic out of line asking for their amount, or was Apple out of line for asking that amount? And then they left that for basically the fans, because internally we don't know exactly what happened because that's a completely legal and it's an internal legal battle between the two companies. But like this goes to show how, let's just say, how little not jurisdiction, but like how little force does the law has in gaming, because this is not the first time that this happens. This has happened a lot, and this shouldn't have happened because gaming is a huge part of like today's culture, but it has been a huge part of culture itself for a long time. and the fact that we still don't have like a regulation of like, okay, so contracts will go this way and this way, it really it's like concerning, because like I said, how is it possible, like they say like, oh, you get this amount of money, and the other guy said no? Like, how is that possible? They have contracts, they have signed contracts that says you're gonna win this and I'm gonna win this. If you don't like it, then it's not gonna begin. Because yes, it is true. At the moment when Fortnite came into the iPhone platform, it was the most downloaded game in the App Store, and with good reason. The iPhone is a very good phone to play mobile, since it has a good processor, it has good graphics when it comes to mobile, and it makes all the sense in the world that it was not only profitable, because Fortnite has to be one of the biggest and most profitable games of all time, but it also makes sense that like Apple would say like, oh, so we have this product on our App Store that is making a lot of money. Now the issue here is that the first thing they, like, each company said to itself was like, how can I get more money out of this? And that's the problem. That's what I personally think, that the individual contract between the two of them, between Epic and Apple, went to basically crap, because they just fought it over. And we're not talking in a lawsuit in gaming that we have seen before. It's not like a cease and desist from Nintendo. It's not like one of the lawsuits that PlayStation had a long time ago when they got hackers. It's like the most basic stupid out of all of them. It's just basically one company saying, I want more money, and then the other one saying, no, I want more money. And they're now battling it out in court.
It's a monetary dispute.
It's a monetary dispute, and there's one reality that we have to attach ourselves, is that yes, there are companies that love making games. There are developers, especially developers, that make really good and entertaining games for the fact to do it for the audience and for the community and for people to just enjoy and have fun. But at the end of the day, the main goal is money. How can I make money out of this? How can I make more money out of this? Because it's a business, and like a lot of people can say like, oh well, companies only want money and that's the only thing they want. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, if I'm gonna make a game for I'm gonna develop a game for a year or two, I'm gonna want money. Like, I'm not gonna just have it, and then if somebody like cheats me on a contract, or people like a store says like, oh, you can only take the game with this amount of money, I'm just gonna take it. No, everybody's gonna run for the money. And I think that right now we have to see how the rest of the court goes, how the rest of the procedure goes. We have to trust the law at this moment to see, because here's the interesting part. They are in the court, they have to go through the whole contract between Epic and Apple, and that contract is kind of like a general contract, because that's like any contract that any developer has to sign if they want to put their game in their platform. They have to go through that contract first, and then the court has to say either yes, there was a violation in this contract in which Epic is gonna have issues with their earnings and their investment, or they are going to say to Epic, well, here's the thing, you signed this contract that specifically says how much you're going to make, and you sign it. So, I mean, dude, come on.
Especially from the part that they're saying about the anti-monopoly laws that are stating that the way that Apple handles all microtransactions done by the App Store force everyone to always pay up a high markup.
Right.
And especially considering that Epic made around $12 million around the time where Apple snuffed them out.
Right, but isn't it curious? I mean, when you go into a business, I mean, we're business partners, right?
Yeah.
When you're business partners, you usually make a contract stipulating, oh, you get this amount. I mean, you've talked about this before, Daniel. I mean, how can you not know? Does anyone know? How are we fighting over this?
Yeah, there's a lot
I mean,
gray area on that. Like it's on like I think it's understate. It's not, people understand the fact that you have, I don't know, 30% cut, but you would imagine that as such a profitable product, like it is for Fortnite, to sometimes get like a lower cut because it has generated so much money, and then it doesn't.
this does not look good professionally, that must they say. Yeah.
So,
Like,
the trial.
let's just think about the amount of money that Fortnite is not Fortnite that Epic is taking just to make this another profit, because this is not the first time that Epic have, let's not say burn money, but spend a lot of money to make a bigger investment. Because in the past, it's actually, well, it's also news that is on developing at the moment. But we do know that Epic paid, for example, Sony, a lot of money to allow Fortnite to be a cross-platform with other consoles, mostly between PS4 and PC. That was like the biggest cross-platform, you can say. Yeah,
the Rift that
cross-platform at the
was
moment.
united at the time.
And at this moment, here's the thing: what, like, they did that? They actually paid Sony to make this, so that in return, I think, if I'm not wrong, like the amount of money they invested, the return was like almost 300%.
Yes.
Of the amount of money they spent, because of a lot, like, yeah, whenever you allow cross-platform in your game, that means like, oh, so the community is gonna be bigger, so I'm gonna have a bigger amount of players that are going to be playing for all of this. And they did that. They are doing the same, like, not the cross-platform. They are doing the same thing now. Like, they're about to burn a lot of money just in law firm, in whoever's representing them, to make an investment, because it's being said, even in this, we have this article.
Imagine the
by
consequences.
The Verge that is basically saying why Epic is burning its own cash to cook Apple. It could either be a statement like, hey, we're Epic, and like basically we have the most powerful game in the world, so don't even think about taking me out of iOS, because I'm gonna take you out of the world.
Exactly.
Or at least in the platform itself. But I mean, this also brings on the question: how powerful can a company, either Apple or Epic, be, that they can create this kind of like law situations? Like, they can create this kind of like scenarios in which basically saying like, hey, I want more money. No, okay, I'm gonna sue you for like a ton of money. And they were like, oh, dude, chill out.
Yeah, exactly. And what's more funny is that imagine the consequences if Apple doesn't win this suit. Imagine what could be. We could have like more marketplaces on Apple, a lower rates, or anything. Like, the implications of what can transpire from this lawsuit, especially if Epic wins. That's what's interesting. Because to many analysts, and Apple analysts for that matter, that are part of Wall Street or anything, they have said that Apple is in a really good position. So, begs the question: does any of you think Apple might lose?
Well, let's be honest. It all comes down to what's in the contract. But so far, for me, I'd say money talks. And with a revenue of $3.85 billion, I'm sure Epic can afford the best lawyers there are.
I'm completely... I don't know how to say that in English. God damn it. I'm with you on that opinion. I don't know how to say it. God damn it. Another funny thing that came out from the start of the court hearing today was, as stated before, Sony hated the crossplay at all, and didn't want to be at all costs, and needed a bunch of money and Epic had to pull out a bunch of money in order for Epic to finally agree with that. But secondly, and this is really cool, is the fact that we finally know how much money did Epic had to give to Gearbox in order to secure
the exclusive
of Borderlands 3. It was $115 million for 6 months of exclusivity. That is mental if you think about it. Getting an upfront $115 of revenue before the game comes out is
just
absurd.
For one.
That's absurd. And if that's what it takes for, depending on the game, of course, for Epic to actually able to afford those kinds of purchases, that's absolutely insane. And we don't know the scope of Epic because they still run a bunch of exclusive games to this very day. Like, I think a couple of months ago, the Kingdom Hearts series that was Sony exclusive for the longest time appeared into the Epic Store. All the collections and the shit show that was Kingdom Hearts 3 is present there. That's insane if you think about it, and how much acquisitive power they have.
The thing is, like, at this point, I really think that Epic is trying to, like, kind of like amassed a lot, not only of earnings, but a lot of the ground when it comes to gaming. Because I remember saying, whenever I saw that Fortnite was starting to get, you know, like the crossovers, and then what they begin with Marvel, and then you have the whole Thanos and those things. But I was saying, like, it's so crazy that this game with a mechanic that is completely not new, because the battleground theme or the
Battle Royale.
How do you say this? The battle royale theme was not new by any means. It was not new. The only cool thing, like the only thing that Fortnite had for like different, it was like the color, so it could relate a lot more with kids. And then you had the whole building system, which I think is total bullcrap, because I hate playing, and then at the other end of the map, there's like an architect that is doing a Burj Khalifa while I'm trying to get him. So here's the thing: whenever that happened, like I started to see like businesses that were Epic. I was like, okay, so Epic found something that was profitable, because let's remember that Fortnite was going to be a zombie game. It was going to be a zombie survival game at the beginning, like a co-op zombie survival game, and then they throw the battle royale
as a side
while they were
thing.
waiting.
I remember Fortnite used to be like $15, and I remember Andres and I wanted to buy it just to like play it like all dungeon defenders, and suddenly the battle royale came out, and we thought like, oh, cool, it's like a side thing. A side thing, dude. Like, it became one of the most monstrous games.
Brother. Yeah, that free-to-play battle royale.
And that's the thing. Like, whenever it started like getting popularity, I was like, because even if you like it or not, you cannot deny that it's popular. That it has been popular for the last 4 years. And the problem is that whenever I'm starting to see that a lot of companies are investing in Epic, so you are seeing a lot of crossovers and a lot of stuff. I started to get worried because
remember that time
like,
when Epic had like this crossover with DC Comics, the first one, that it was with Batman in Gotham City, and they gave out all the Arkham games and the Lego Batman games.
Yeah, and like whenever I hear the announcement, like, oh, so Epic is gonna make a store, like have the Epic Store, so you're gonna have third-party developers that are gonna sell over there. My first thought was like, well, that's weird because you're competing against Steam, which we're going to talk about later. You're competing against Steam, which is the biggest one out of them all. But apparently, like out of nowhere, a lot of third companies were going to them because they already had like this connection of games, and they were like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna sell my game on your on your store. And then I remember when I saw that Star Wars was going to be present in Fortnite, I was like, oh dude, this is gonna be big, because we're talking about somebody that's owned by Disney. And I mean, Disney is like the mafia of owning things. Like they are like between them and Nintendo is like if you have something from their brand, it's like, dude, the amount of money and power you must have for them to give that to you is gonna be huge. So mark my words. If by like maybe for next year or maybe at the end of this year, we're going to see people from Kingdom Hearts pop up in Fortnite.
No, stop.
Dude, we had Alien, we had Ripley, like one of the most gruesome horror films in the history of the world got into a kids game. Everyone's like, oh my god,
Kratos was featured in that game.
Dude,
and Master Chief too.
Street Fighter was in the game, like because they created a whole convoluted things because of like Chun-Li having like a dump truck, but like everybody is getting on Epic. So here's what I think that is going to happen. I think either Epic wins or loses. They are going to be more than okay because they already have a lot of earnings due to Fortnite and the Epic Store.
And I think they'll become famous, like even more famous than they already are.
Yeah.
Even then, that's publicity.
You have publicity,
sure.
like it's like, dude, they are the ones who went against Apple, and then Apple is an evil company or whatever. And like, for example, when you talk about like for Borderlands, for example, that you have the rights to own Borderlands 3.
Even if it's for a little time.
Exactly. Even if it's for a little time, that means you're, well, not kind of like technically, and like I don't want to sound like commie, but it's like you're privatizing an entertainment platform, which is a video game. And if they can do that, then I'm pretty sure they're gonna go to court and they're gonna say like either we win and we get a ton of money, like a ton of money. We destroy not a competitor, but somebody that did us wrong or like pissed us off on the past. Either that or we lose, and I couldn't care less because I'm Epic. Like, you know, I have a ton of money. Like, I make $1 million a day. Like, I'm the reasons maybe some dad had to ground his kid because he used his credit card to buy a stupid dance.
You're going into a deeper territory over there. But do you know that Epic's popularity or power, if you think about it, has gone all the way to transpire rumors that the only way that PC gamers are going to experience Nintendo exclusives games are going to be through Epic. Like, a lot of people are saying that. Like, there's a bunch of that don't get surprised if we get Persona 5 through Epic Games. Don't be surprised if that happens. If we get Bayonetta 2 or 3 through Epic. Because, well, Scott Pilgrim jumped for being a legendary game that was discontinued online to landing in the Epic Store for PC gamers. It goes to show how much is their reach and their power when it comes to exclusives.
Please, Epic, hear this, man.
So, as the Epic and Apple fight is on full swing, something worth noting about that lawsuit is that both Team Sweeney and Team Cook are present in the hearings. For the first time, Team Cook has been forced to appear in court and testify for his company. The same applies to Team Sweeney, which is the CEO of Epic. And that is pretty historical if you think about it.
I think it's funny.
Team versus team.
You have like not only team versus, like you have two giants of two corporations that are basically taking over the world over a game. Like, I don't know why. I think in the middle of the court they're gonna like throw Smash Bros and they're gonna say like, hey, whoever wins wins. You know what? Okay, I mean,
yeah, you know, it's over. It's over. This is all that we're going to talk about.
The clash of the teams.
Yes. And finally, we have our main event for today, which is going to be... Let's read this story right away. As Epic versus Battle approaches to the courtroom, Valve is getting sued over Steam too. Oh
People love
boy.
suing.
Oh boy. So,
It seems like a trend.
Andres, give us the honors. Open this debacle right from the start.
Boy. So, to make a nice little summary of it, Steam is getting sued because they are noticing this monopolization trends in their actions and their contracts, how they manage stuff with all their clients, the game developers, and they don't seem too happy about it. And you're about to see why they are not. So, why don't you tell us some numbers?
Well,
So-
Steam has a cut of 30% on any transaction. Does it sound familiar to any of you?
Oh gee, what could it be?
And so, different companies, in this case the creator of Humble Bundle, is not pretty happy about it.
You can't see why, but it evolves from a lot of different things. So, for example, when we talk about Humble Bundle, the creator Wolfire Games, they are basically like they are saying a lot of things like, because it's not just a simple lawsuit, it's kind of like a list of lawsuits that are amassed in a big lawsuit. So it's like a lawsuit extravaganza. So first of all, they are saying that like they feel that Steam is currently yes, kind of like controlling a monopoly of the gaming scenario in PC, because consoles is a whole different world. In many of the things that Wolf says, he's saying for example, they are saying that Valve approximately owns 75% of the entire PC gaming market, which kind of like makes them win around $6 billion in annual revenue, which we all know that's a lot. Which come from what you said, that 30% fee alone in which they have. So, for example, if you don't know, if you're a third-party developer, you want to get a game out. Let's say you're an indie company and you have this game. So basically, you say to yourself, okay, I have to sell this game in a platform. Basically, the biggest platform in the world for PC is Steam. So you're going to go with Steam. You're gonna sign a contract in which says like, okay, so you can launch your game through our platform, people can buy it, but we are charging the 30% fee. Actually, charging 30% is not a rare thing to see in a lot of contracts, not only in gaming but like around the world. But it's a huge percentage. It's a huge percentage.
Of course.
So, in one of the many things that like they are suing Valve, which is not the first Valve lawsuit there has been. They are saying that like you say to yourself, wait, but if you sign this, how is this a monopoly? Because you are allowing this to happen. So why is people calling it a monopoly? That's when Humble Bundle Wolf says, here's the thing. There are things on this contract that makes it a monopoly, that doesn't allow me as a publisher to thrive or to have any other options. So there are things, for
One
example,
of the biggest ones that appear on the lawsuit is that if you have your game on Steam, you cannot sell it cheaper on other platforms.
yes, it doesn't allow you to say PC games. Doesn't allow publishers to sell PC games and game keys for less money elsewhere. Because we have seen that there are games that kind of share the places where you can buy them. But if you put them first on Steam, or you put it later even, by contract, you cannot change the price on the other store. So let's say, for example, that one of the stores is saying like, hey, so I'm going to make a winter sale, and I want to add your game to that winter sale. But in Steam, you're not on their winter sale. So by law of Steam, they're like, yeah, you cannot do that. You cannot say it because we are not doing it in our platform. And basically, the developer either has to say, okay, I have to leave the other platform because I'm not allowed to do anything because of Steam, or I have to get funding, or I have to take this to another market, because at the end of the day, I have to do what Steam says. Steam kind of sounds like that toxic boyfriend that doesn't let you do anything. Like, he doesn't allow you to go with your friends. Like, he's basically saying, like, you're gonna stay at home, watch Netflix. That's it.
Yeah, aside from that, another thing that they say, that this is something more for, this is more Andres' side of the thing, that they're talking about other platforms that have been reduced to smithereens. And what do you think about it? Like, why do you think the other platforms have failed to harness the gravitational pull of the PC master race, for example?
Right, so to begin with, Steam is ancient pretty much. I mean, it's been there since the beginning of gaming, the PC gaming, so to speak. So it has prestige. Everyone knows what is Steam if they do any kind of gaming on PC. That's the first of all things. Then, if you have prestige, everything you post on that page is guaranteed to get a view or two, at least, recommended to friends, whatever. Since Epic is a more new, let's say new, because yeah, you know, the prestige is not so there. I mean, they do have their exclusives here and there, but it's not much to get enough of a pull.
They're a supermarket. So
Right.
they are a supermarket. If you want to buy any kind of regular brand beer, it's there. But if you want to buy the draft beer done by some hillbilly in the mountains, you need to go to that specific store, and that's something that does not exist that way in the PC gaming platform. But there's another thing that a lot of people are not talking about, and both of you are going to agree with me, and it's the fact that other platforms that have risen to try to take down at least a little bit of Steam's popularity have been awful. Let's just say, let's just say, I hate opening the Epic Store, because every time I open it, it forgets my password, it forgets that my computer is authorized, it never sends the code to me to authorize it. Like, it's awful. I don't care if I get free games in that platform. Just opening the store is it's nightmare for me. And I think they just barely recent added user reviews, which was something that was sorely missed, because already in the PC market space, we had reviews right there from Steam users. None of that full GameSpot type of reviews. No, you're getting people like you, like me, that were reviewing a product that they just bought. And you would see how much time they spent on the game, which it gives them a little more of real estate when it comes to a lot of trust from other players that are experiencing the same game. What are your horror stories of other platforms?
Here's the thing. I have to agree with you that the other platforms seems to not be suited. Let's say it like that. They seem to not be suited to be a store. And the thing is, like, first of all, competing with Steam is so hard, because Steam has been a marketplace for gaming since almost like 2003. And I even remember that whenever they launched Half-Life, which is one of their biggest games, because they are the developers of Half-Life, they made it obligatory for you to sign on in Steam to play the game. And then just then and there, they started to grow the market. So if you grow the market, you have to give a platform that has to be the dominant of the market. That makes the whole sense in the world. The thing is, like, yes, the other stores have a lot of flaws, and that's not just coming from our opinion. There has been a lot of complaints through the different platforms. There has been complaints to the Epic stores, for example. There are a lot of people saying that it takes like a lifetime to load up, and once it's done, it's extremely clunky, especially if you don't have like the necessary internet requirements, in which Steam you can get in with even like 50 kilobytes of internet, and it works. Like, you can go through games and do all things. And let's not talk about Origin, because the Origin does not only work, but it always opens up as you start the computer. So
Origin,
it's kind of like,
Origin makes me want to jump out of the window.
I think
right
Origin-
out.
Origin is like that guy that always wanted a friend. Like you open up the computer, it's like save me, and then you don't. So basically, you like it's funny the fact that I remember I don't remember which game it was. Oh yeah, okay. So whenever in Epic they gave out Battlefront 2 for free, when they gave it out for free, you needed an Origins account to play it because Origin is connected with EA. So I remember that whenever I opened up Battlefront, I had to open up at the same time Origin, so Origin would crash, and then Epic would crash along with my game. So basically, I have like 3 crashes.
A domino effect of crashing programs.
I had 3 crashes for the price of 1, and I just wanted to be a freaking Ewok. That's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to play an Ewok, and like that was it is predominantly trouble, and I'm pretty sure that whenever you think about a lawsuit to Steam and everybody's saying like it has a monopoly, the first thing that people are going to say like, well, but Steam is the best one. Can you be a monopoly if you are
and
the best one?
And it's not even that good.
It's basic, but it works.
That's the worst part.
It does work. It does the part.
Yeah, but it does the bare minimum. Okay, like Steam. I'm not saying that Steam it's an awful platform or anything. But let's just face it, a platform that has problems loading your friends list, an app that has problems showing you all the settings that you need for sharing something or anything, a platform that has a lot of problem with DRMs, a platform that updates without any reason. We've had the same exact fucking platform for at least 8 years with nothing changed on it.
I mean, it looks pretty.
It doesn't.
It kind of looks. It looks prettier than before.
Open the download tray. Open the download tray, and you're going to tell me that that's pretty.
But the thing is, like, it
It
works.
looks better than
It works.
Epic.
I mean, it works. That's the thing. At least you can open the download tab.
No, and Steam has a lot of good into it. The family sharings, I can share games with my friends.
When it works.
The invites work. Like, they have a lot of good. The thing is that the good that they have is it's not necessarily the best. You
It's
understand?
good if they work.
Exactly. What is there that works well enough. You get updates whenever you want. You have scheduled updates. You can actually have at what time of the day they can update automatically and when they have to stop. Like, all of that stuff is really good. I have to admit it, that like it's not an awful platform. But imagine if we had a platform, a marketplace that would work like the PSN, for example, on PC.
And you go. I mean, that's one of the things, because whenever you go to console gaming, I think it's a more controlled market, because you can argue this, but there are not as many console games as there are PC games. I mean, in Steam, there's a thing with Steam. This is the thing with Steam, which I find pretty funny. Steam is a company that will say, "Hey, you have a game that works. Okay, we'll sell it. We'll put it on the market for you if it works, and if you follow like the guidelines,
the basic guidelines, you can sell." That's
the
true.
most basic. So that's there's the thing. Whenever you have this, let's say, marketplace in which you can sell anything, and you have a lot of things to play, I'll give them a little bit of slack, saying that it has to be really hard to have a system that has over 1 million games, and you have to like update it as it goes, because I'm pretty sure that whenever you have that amount of games, that means a huge amount of servers that you need to use, and that's where I'll cut them a little slack, just a little slack, because if you go to the PlayStation Store, it's beautiful, it sounds beautiful, it has like wavy things, it has sales, it has everything, but I'm pretty sure that I'll never get into the PlayStation Store and I'm going to be saying like, oh, so there's a sale in The Last of the Waifus. Cool, I guess.
It's just like that. It's just like that. But there's something that makes me want to kind of refute everything that you said is that Steam had the big picture mode, which was hot garbage, and they almost scrapped it all the way. But it looked pretty.
But it works,
I mean,
and at the end of the day, it works. So the thing is, like, yes, you can say, okay, so how are you a monopoly if basically you are the only one that works well? So kind of like, it's like Steam saying the problem is not that I'm a bad guy. The problem is that the other ones are trash, and then that's I'm pretty sure that's how Steam is gonna roll it. That's how they're going to go through the lawsuit. But there are things on this lawsuit that do look very bad. For example, you know that in different platforms, whenever your game starts to get like a big level of revenue, they lower the fee they charge you for the game. So, for example, if you get something on Android or Apple, if your game amasses $1 million in revenue, they will drop their 30% to, if I'm not wrong, all the way to 15, which is a lot. It's basically half. But in Steam, if you amass $10 million, they will drop it to 25. So
That's absolutely
dude,
scummy. Like,
come on.
I'm going to be perfectly honest here. That is a really scummy way to do it. Like, I'm not asking for them to drop the 30% or something, but if you're telling me that for 10 million downloads, you only get a 5% drop,
That's not gonna cut it, bro.
I don't know how to defend you.
Exactly. There's the thing, and we are seeing that a lot of companies are starting to reevaluate how they fee their gamers, and then maybe because, for example, I do know that, for example, Epic will try and do like a different kind of fee for their games, and like Valve said, like, oh yeah, we're gonna do it, don't worry. It's been 5 years, Valve. What the hell? I mean, how are we gonna get like that revenue for it? Like, let's just, if I have it here on the screen, it says here that Valve adjusted revenue to split to give bigger companies more money. But bigger companies, we're talking about bigger companies, not indie. So it's just like reducing its 30% cut to 25% after a developer racks up 10 million in sales, and down to 20% after they hit 50 million. That's all the way they're about to go, 20%. So just a 10% cut. And like I said, Apple and Google dropped their cuts to 15% for developers with under $1 million in sale. And Epic Store only takes 20% as a fee, and Microsoft Windows Store just copied that lead by dropping its 30% cut to 12% as well. So yeah, you do have the biggest platform of the world in PC gaming, but you also have the most expensive one of the world whenever it comes to revenue.
They're asking for a premium to sell any game at all.
Exactly. So it bothers me that maybe you're a small company and you're saying something like, "Ooh, I want people to see this game because I pour my heart into this game, but I also want to make a living out of this because I pour my heart into it." And then you put it on Steam, and whenever it sells, Steam is gonna be like, "Hey, that's all good, kiddo, but where's my money?" I mean, they're like this kind of like new style, like neo bully, in which he says like, "Oh yeah, you can play here, like there's no problem, but if by the end of the day you don't give me your lunch money, I'm gonna punch you in the face." And it's weird, but it really bothers me, because if you're a big company like EA, Ubisoft, well, not Blizzard, but like if you're any of the big companies that you put your games, or you're a company that has a lot of money, you're like, okay, so I don't care because I have a lot of money, and at the end of the day, I know my game is gonna sell well. But if you're an indie company, it's basically like saying everything is against you. You either sell on Steam and get completely railed at the end of the month with your revenue, or you sell on Epic for people to never buy it because like if the store opens, that's a miracle. Or you could sell it by yourself. You can be your own platform, because games are allowed. If you're a game, you can open like your browser and you can say, yeah, you pay directly to us to do this. But it's more likely not gonna work as well as to put it on Steam, in which Steam gives you the platform to sell it to a lot of people. So basically, if you're an indie developer, a new developer, or maybe a big developer, but it's like taking a huge risk on a game, it goes against you. It totally goes against you, because you're saying like, either I sign in with a company that will take a lot of money for my game, but at least I'll sell it, or I go to, I don't know, Epic or Origin, and I'm gonna take a huge risk that people might not see and might not buy it. And that's when I think that monopoly thing that they are saying, it's playing its game. It's playing its role.
If you post
That's
on
where I think it's
Steam,
playing it.
as Andres said it before, you are bound to be watched by thousands and upon thousands of concurrent users. Like, it's a fact. But if you go into any other store, you need to be extremely lucky to be downloaded by thousands of people and then make a profit just staying on that platform that's not Steam. And that's what I think is the bottom line on that. At least we're not as bad. All of them are not as bad as Stadia that lost its product manager. And I think on that note, we can end today's episode.
I kind of lost my respect as well, so.
Once again, I want to say thanks to both my friends Daniel and Andres. I hope they will come with me for another go at these episodes, and I will see you guys pretty soon with another video. Right now, Andres and I are working on a review of Nier Replicant. I have streamed all the gameplay with him, and we both have our own opinions about it. So we will see you guys pretty soon next week. Have a good one.